Great. That's just what I want. Hello, David.
Hey, Chuck. Hold on a second. I'm going to switch my sound.
That's okay. I just...
Okay. Now you're in my AirPods.
Okay. I've got to go and get new batteries for the trackpad because I just got a message that the batteries are going dead. So,
okay.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. So how are things?
Good. It's a busy day. Oof.
Yeah, that's the way I feel too. It's like, oh my God.
And this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah, they're lobbing bombs at us from every direction. So I'm just getting set up.
All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Are you seeing it live on Facebook?
Yes.
Good. Okay. For some reason, I'm having trouble getting that up. And okay, there we go.
Got a new Kickstarter item right there.
What's that? A new podcast studio device?
Yeah. It's like a Rodecaster, but it's Chinese. It's really small.
All right. Are you developing an addiction like Guy?
I thought so. I forgot I backed a Kickstarter.
Okay.
It was $150.
Oh, gee, that's not bad.
Yeah. It's not bad.
If it functions. Why is the live stream? According to mine, the live stream is offline. Now, why?
No, I'm looking at it right now on the page.
I mean, on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. That I did not check.
Yeah, that's the one that's... Nope, it says it's live. And it looks like it is live. Okay, well, fine. As long as it's live, that's good. That's good.
Yep, it's live.
Okay, yeah. Very strange, very strange. Now I got to just find my notes, and we should be good to go.
I've got mine as well.
I mean, we'll get into, well, I hate to even waste any of it, but because there've been so many interesting aspects to this virtual format.
Oh, for sure. I'll definitely share my experience.
Yeah.
One person I was trying to set up an interview for like the whole day. He couldn't respond back to me, and I set up a Teams meeting with him, and we ended up just going offline and just doing Zoom.
Yeah, the Teams thing. I tried a couple times, and it just, I don't know. I couldn't get it to function.
I had one meeting. It did work because he invited me, but I invited the second one. Up your grid came up.
Yeah, I know. I was refocusing. Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting.
Good keynote. Some good keynotes.
I've
Verizon,
been
I could
doing,
have lived without watching that.
there's some that, I mean, just like at live CES, there's some that everybody, oh, these are the big keynotes. And it's like, they have no relevance to me. And frankly, so many of them don't have any relevance to, my reader or my viewers or listeners, your listeners.
Not really.
I was looking over one website's, pick the best of show. And it's like, some of this stuff, they're $10,000 items. How many people are going to buy those? I'd rather go and find out who has the cool new speakers or the little stuff, because that's what you're going to buy. So
yeah, for tonight I put some items not necessarily iOS related. So
yeah. There've been. I mean, there are a lot of things I want to follow up on. I've talked to a lot of people that we'll be doing interviews afterwards, because I think everybody's, like, oh my God, it's so busy. And it's like, well, yeah, don't stress it, because, there's so much noise right now, just like in the real ones,
they're getting pulled in 5 directions.
Yeah. If you drag stuff out or save it for later, you're going to get a better uptake.
That's why I was very impressed. You got the first one out right away.
Yeah, well, I've had great relations with the folks at NextSpace, and
I remember last year.
Yeah, and I popped in. Oh yeah, that's right. And I popped into theirs, and they were like, "You're the first person here." And it's like, "Well, great. Let's talk." And do you mind if I record it? And they gave me permission. So it's not an interview. It's just sort of a little bit of a conversation. But
right, you put your edits top and bottom.
Yeah. So that was good. That was good.
I got about 4 interviews so far, 4 or 5, which is good for me.
Yeah. Again, just
a lot of press releases and a lot of information I'll go through.
Yeah. Have you been doing the showstopper stuff?
Nope.
Yeah.
Pepcom was much better.
Yes, I think the whole setup was, I mean, we'll talk about this. I liked the way some of the showstopper stuff was done, but it gets a little confusing as to what's coming up and where you have the links and all. And it's like, okay, could we just have like a master list? And
yeah, they had it's all split up.
Well, I think it would be really interesting. We'll never know as to, did each one of these press organizations, did they try to roll their own? Did they hire somebody to do it and set it up? Yeah. And my guess would be the latter, because because I've attended, several virtual conferences, both for the office and here.
Right.
And everybody has a different take on the virtual conference.
Okay.
So I don't know. Oh my, crazy world.
Yeah, when I watched GM, and I thought that that new Hummer they're going to have is pretty interesting.
Oh, I didn't watch that one.
1,000 horsepower EV.
Okay.
Yeah. And some of the Cadillacs had some pretty amazing technology. I mean, the screen's taking up the whole dashboard now. I mean, I think that's where the technology's going in automotive.
Did the one I sent you, the Future Revisit, or
I started watching it.
Yeah, I thought the idea of was a compressed disruption. I've got to go back and find out what the proper term, or accelerated disruption or something. I thought, they summarized what I've been thinking for a long time, that, there are a lot of things that are happening now that would not have happened or would have taken a lot longer. And now, you know what? There are people that don't want to go back.
Yep.
The one, I think they said they did a survey that said 7% of the people said they never want to set foot in a brick and mortar store again. That, they're buying online.
Then I listened to, what was her name? Kari, Barry, the CEO of Best Buy, she'll beg to differ. But they,
I missed that one. I darn it, I missed that one. I wanted to. Oh, I
yeah,
have to
you should
go back
and watch it.
it.
It was she's a very interesting lady. I was very impressed with her.
Love Best Buy or hate Best Buy, they're doing a lot of things right.
They are.
I mean,
that's what she talked about. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that they'll price match against online prices, the return procedures have gotten much much better. Scratch that. Much easier.
Easier.
The in-store selection is, they may not have a lot of stock, but man, they got a lot of brands.
They do.
So
they got 1,000 stores too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's only been at the helm for a year, so she jumped in, and then COVID hit.
Hang on a second, I have a message. There we go.
Oh, Frank's trying to get in.
Frank is okay.
Well, the link is right below it. I mean,
yeah. Well, I'll put it in again. I'm not quite sure if you join late, do you get to see all of the chats above or not?
On Facebook or in Zoom?
Facebook.
Yeah, I see Frank's chat in there right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if he just joined, does he see the chat that the Zoom information I put in previously?
Not sure.
I'm not sure either. So I'll throw it in again.
I'll just throw it in under his comment.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, the other thing too is that big supposed announcement from Apple tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from that because by the time this, if nobody's watching tonight, it's going to be pointless because.
Evening, gents.
Hello, Frank.
Hey, Frank.
Hello.
Hello.
I think you're on the wrong mic.
Do I sound okay?
No.
This is my brand new mic. What the hell?
You're on. It sounds like you're on the AirPods.
Tap the mic.
Nope.
You're not on the mic.
You're on the AirPods. Where'd you get it? Sure.
No, I went and got another Samsung just for the screw of it. I don't want to spend a lot of money. Where am I looking at sound source to put in my input?
First thing to do is try it in this.
Wait.
Try it in Zoom.
Oh, that's right. I got to pick the input. And why is the Zoom? Why is it not showing me settings all of a sudden?
In Zoom, you have to go to Zoom US and then go to Preferences.
Yeah, but I know when you go into the other part, they have a cog in the right corner. Oh, wait, you're right. Microphone. Built in. Same as, it doesn't even list the damn microphone.
It's not picking up on your USB.
Yeah.
How's that? Can you hear that?
Nope, no change. Hello,
hey, Mark.
Hello, everyone. How are you all tonight?
Very good.
Good.
Can you hear that?
There you go.
Now you've changed it.
I'll tap the mic because
okay.
Yeah. Tap the mic because you still don't. No, tap the mic. Nope, you're still not on it.
Now you're on a different mic.
I am haunted. Let me try just take it from the.
Mark, should we ask about fruits of
How's that?
2021?
Mhm.
No difference, Frank.
Yeah, I was
That's a
inspired.
different mic.
The other day I heard your interview with Jeff Carlson, and you said you talked about a tag you
Oh,
never used
God.
that would be unique. So
Yeah.
you said you never use kumquats as a word for a tag for anything. So
Yeah. Okay, now I will, apparently.
and they're nice fruit, as are lychee nuts, which are really horrible looking things, but are quite tasty.
Nothing, huh?
Nope.
Tap the mic, Frank. That's the only way we know for sure.
I
No.
know, but it's like I've run out of inputs. Why isn't it not working? I've used 3 different mics.
What other mic do you have that you're on right now? 'Cause
Well,
it's
I'm using
different.
the mic from that's also on the iPhone you can use with this app I've got. I'm using the Samsung.
No.
Oh,
Hey,
this
guy.
is just nuts.
Hey, guy.
Check one,
What's the
two.
Hello,
problem?
guy.
Why can't I hear anything?
We can hear you.
Um,
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Is that any better?
No
Nope.
difference.
AirPods?
Hear us?
No, I'm not hearing anything.
We're on a roll here.
The guy with new equipment and the guy with all the equipment.
So what seems to be the problem? I hear Frank just fine.
Can
He's
you
n-
hear that?
He's not on the mic he's supposed to be, Mark. That's the
Oh.
thing. He
Okay,
bought that this night.
Can anybody hear me say anything now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can hear you, but that's not the mic. Though it's the wrong mic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's the wrong mic, but right now I don't have a choice. Let me pull
Okay.
how's that? Is the volume any better there, Owen?
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, guy.
How about me?
I mean that your volume's okay, Frank. You're not warm, but it's okay.
Not
It'll
being able to hear you.
Do you want me to just skip it?
No. I mean you're not bad. You're just not as good as you
AirPods are
could be.
connected via Bluetooth.
I am so ticked off.
Well, Frank, at least you're not using Windows. Just think about that. That will cheer you.
That's true.
I'm about to jump out of one, I think.
Yeah.
This is nuts.
So Frank, just I'll drive you just a little crazier. What camera are
Oh,
you
thanks.
using? Yeah, well,
I'm using my iPhone just like last week.
Yeah, the
okay,
camo.
because it doesn't look like it's quite sharp and focused.
Right.
What the hell's going on? It's all the same equipment I used last week.
Yeah.
Shoot. All right, let me switch over. Here's the dreaded potato cam. God.
Can you hear us, Guy?
Nothing, no output. Check 1, 2.
Microphone. Where's
But you don't hear us, guy. Okay, so the live audience is really getting a taste of how the sausage gets made.
Yeah.
Hello, Paul in the chat room. Having fun?
all right?
In the
Yes.
YouTube chat room, I should say.
There's the potato cam. Can you see that?
Yeah,
Seems
I mean, we
worse.
see it. It's
That's
just
a
not
totally
like
different cam. You know what it is? It's a stupid, junky 2015 iMac. This is going out the bloody window.
Frankie,
I've had
I mean,
it with this piece of junk
when did you last restart?
this
Okay, I can hear
morning.
you guys now.
Oh,
Can you hear us?
good guy.
Is other
Want me
people
to try
having problems?
rebooting it again?
Yeah, Frank is.
Frank, have your mic plugged in and maybe just try a whole a complete shutdown and cold restart and
Yep.
see if that, that would be my
I'm on a
best
different
guess.
mic tonight.
Which mic you on tonight?
It's a Shure SM58 connected up to the Moana caster.
Oh, you got
All
it.
right,
Yep.
I'll try to get back in a few minutes.
I showed it to Chuck. All right.
And apparently, this should come as a shock to no one. I also got it with the microphone.
So
Oh,
you
this
did
is-
get it.
This is it.
I actually hadn't.
Zoom won't quit.
How do I stop that?
Wait,
Check,
we
check.
can bounce. He can bounce you
Now I
out.
can't hear anybody.
What the?
I can hear myself. I don't want to hear myself. How do I stop it from doing that?
Turn down the monitor, the one in that left button.
Yeah, then I can't hear anyone else. Go ahead, say something.
Hello, check.
Test one,
Nope.
two, test.
Then I
What the heck
don't know
is
what. Are you plugged right into the?
It's through an OWC thing.
Hello, Andrew.
Andrew?
Hey,
Andrew, are you trying to be
I
mysterious?
wish I had better lighting.
Yeah, we were a little. You're in the dark.
I'm in a different area of my apartment because usually I'm trying to sit in right in front of the light, but I didn't feel like moving my whole desk over.
Hmm. Understood.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey,
Hey, Jeff.
I guess fifth time's a charm for trying to get in.
I didn't want to be harassing you, but it's like you said you're on top of things, and and it's like, okay, where is he? Where is he? And then I realized, gee, could you be somewhere else?
Yeah, I clicked the link when you sent it to me, and like I was immediately in a Zoom chat room alone, and I thought, damn, I beat Chuck into his own Zoom.
He has to let you in.
Yeah, and it didn't occur to me until this time because I kept leaving and rejoining, thinking, "Oh yeah, the problem is me." Andrew, what the hell is your problem?
We just said the
Seriously?
same thing.
Sorry.
Seriously?
He
We're
likes to
going
be
to
in
have
the
to
dark.
stage an intervention because
We have to sell him these lights.
I cannot have you drinking shit beer. Oh, are we live?
Yes, we're live, but
Oh,
we're not.
well.
The show has not started, so we're still in pre-show.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, seriously, we have got to have a talk about your choice of beers.
I do usually drink some nice beer from this local brewery. So
Okay, so then you have no excuse for what you're doing right now. What is wrong
no, I
with you?
don't at all.
Just
Is it in the mason jar? I didn't see it.
oh no,
No,
because
it's
I was able to totally call him out for drinking
Could I-
garbage.
Okay.
Yeah. They call it the champagne of beers. It's
Oh
this
my
big
gosh.
whole can.
Oh, no wonder why you're complaining.
Andrew,
Well, at least,
Andrew.
well, I don't know. I mean, there's a beer from Colorado that's
Yeah, that
that's called Rocky Mountain
starts with a C.
Water.
Can
Yes.
you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay.
can, Guy.
I got it solved.
Mark, what you were talking about is not actually beer. It's an
Oh, oh.
abomination of water.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Thanks
it's
for the
basically
correction.
water.
Yeah.
Thanks for the correction.
Several years ago.
Oh, come on,
So
it's
this
Coors
would have
Light,
been
the
many years
champagne
ago.
of something.
Yeah, the
That's
champagne of.
that's Budweiser. That's Budweiser.
Oh,
So
Is that
Mark,
better?
many years ago,
Well, that's what Andrew's drinking.
I was at a party that was actually at that brewery's headquarters in
Okay.
Golden.
because they have this big event center that's part of their facility.
Yeah.
So I'd been invited to this big event, and I'm there, and they have all of these little mini bars set up all over the place with taps, and you just walk up and tell them what you want to drink, and then they pour you a glass. And so I walked up to this one, and I looked at all the products that they had, and I really don't like anything they make, but they had this one that I thought, well, maybe it would be okay, and it's called Killian's Red.
Ah,
Yeah,
So,
I've heard
so,
of that.
so they pour me a glass, and I take a sip, and I'm like, oh, But I think the beer is, I know it's bad, but I think it's the yeast. Like the yeast is infected or something. This is bad. And the guy's like, oh my God, okay. And so he pours himself a little bit and takes a drink and he's like, no, it's actually,
No, that's fine.
this is fine. And so he pours me another glass because maybe the problem was that there was something in the line and it flushed its way out into my glass. I'm willing to accept that. So I take a drink. I'm like, no, this beer it's bad. Not just like I don't like the flavor, but this beer has gone bad. And he got really pissed off at me. And and it turns
should
out he
have
was the
better
master
freaking
brewer
beer.
for that specific beer.
Oh, good.
And then without even realizing that I was rubbing salt in the wound, I said, I'll just have a glass of water.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, I've done that. Several times. At wine tastings, you come in and they give you something it doesn't quite taste quite right, and you ask, "Well, when was this bottle opened?" "Oh, it was opened. It was opened this morning." "Are you sure? Could you check?" And they go in, they take it, and I happen to have a prop here. They take it, and they. Well, maybe because of the background, you can't see it, but they take it and, it's common practice. You write the date, the number of the date, 12 or 13, 11, that it was opened. And they come back and, "Oh, sorry, this is open yesterday." And right away, you get much better respect and attention and treatment because all of a sudden they know somebody, who is in touch with their taste buds.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I
Let's
may
get
have to
started
leave
here.
at a moment's notice, but
Okay.
it would just be a temporary interruption.
No problem. David, can you give me just a little less gain?
Yeah.
Just a little, not a lot, just a little, to put you a little more in line with everyone.
How's that?
So I'm still
Test,
okay.
test, 1, 2.
You're still a little hot, David.
Am I?
What about me?
Not distorting. You're good,
Got it.
guy.
Well,
Yeah.
we've always known that David is hot.
Yeah.
How's that? Test,
That's
test,
better.
1, 2.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Ah.
it's just more in line with everybody.
Okay.
And then before we start, I want to welcome Mary Gann. She's in the Zoom room with us. Mary, you're welcome to turn your camera on and be part of this, or if you'd just rather hang out, that's fine too. We are easy to get along with. Okay, let's do this. Oh, Mark disappeared. Well, that's all right. He'll be back by the time I introduce him. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to MacVoices Live. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we're live on Facebook on the MacVoices page. We're live on the MacVoices TV channel on YouTube. We do this every Tuesday night. You can join us either place in the chats on there, or if you get here early enough, you can get in the Zoom room with us. We have one guest in the Zoom room tonight, but right now they are not turning on their camera, which is perfectly all right. They are just getting to watch things up close and personal a little bit more. Tonight, we're going to talk about what's been coming out of CES. Not in Las Vegas anymore because it's all virtual. So now it's kind of equal opportunity to try to find what's there and go to the sessions and talk to the virtual exhibitors and all. We thought it'd be fun to share some of the products we've seen and have been interested in, just how the whole virtual thing is going. So that's what we're going to do with an all-star panel here. So let's see. First up, I'm going to try to keep my screen here, but I'll probably blow it anyway. First up, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, good to have you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Chuck. Glad to be here. I'm excited to talk about the busy day we had today at CES.
Yes, and it has been a couple busy days, no question about it, trying to keep all the balls in the air and attend everything, which is impossible anyway.
Impossible.
Mr. Guy Searle is here. Guy, welcome.
Hello, coming to you from a Mayonocaster. I can't remember how to pronounce the damn thing. It's interesting.
Okay.
I always have to change my audio setup every single week because
I really think, Guy, that you could broadcast 365 days a year and use a different mic every day.
Close. Yeah, it's close. It's real close.
Yeah. Maybe skip holidays.
Yeah.
Mr. Andrew Orr is with us. Andrew, you're hiding in the dark or something. I'm not quite sure why, what you're afraid of.
Microphones.
Everything. But it's good to be here. And there are a lot of cool stuff coming out of CES. So this will be a fun chat.
Yeah.
I agree. Mr. Jeff
There's
Gammon is
probably
here.
some lights too.
Well, we can live in hope.
Jeff, how are you? Thanks for being here.
I'm doing great. And as always, it is awesome to get to hang out with you and everyone else.
Well, that's good. Last but not least, with, again, one of his trademark backgrounds that I'm going to ask him to explain is Mr. Mark Fuccio. Mark, good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Chuck. Hello, everyone else. It's good to be here, Chuck. This is really becoming a fun weekly event because in COVID, we just don't get to go out and socialize with as many people as we normally would. So this is something that is filling the spot. And as for the background, I was listening to one of your other podcasts, which I hope a lot of the viewers and panelists do. You were talking with Jeff Carlson about his book, Take Control of Your Files. And he was talking about tagging, and he was looking for an example, or you were looking for an example of something, and you couldn't think of anything. So he said, kumquat. You said, that's a word I would never use in any other context. I figured, well, I like the kumquat fruit. It's actually quite tasty. And along with that, it turned out the fruit I was thinking about is the fruit on the on my right, the red one, the lychee one, with sort of all those hairy things on the outside of the shell, which is a rather disgusting looking fruit. But if you pop it open, it's really wonderful. It's sort of a citrusy blend, kind of a hint of lime and orange, and sometimes maybe, if I dare say, a hint of coconut. But of course, everyone's palate is unique and different. So that's what inspired this background, because it's the start of the year. People can go out and explore and try new things and get on a healthful diet and lifestyle and everything else. So, that's what inspired the background. And I owe it all to you and Jeff, Chuck.
Well, I'm delighted that I inspired you to come up with something like this. I hope the kumquat didn't take any offense. It was just not a word that comes up in my vocabulary very often.
I'm sure you can find some at your local Whole Foods, and you can enjoy them too. I'm not sure if they're in season now, at least in this hemisphere, but give them a try. They're definitely an experience.
Sounds good. All right, so this week in fruit has now wrapped up, and we'll get to it. What?
Twiff. This week in fruit.
Twiff? Oh,
Yeah.
Twiff.
Yeah, Twiff. Okay, that's a new one. So guys, I don't even know where to start, because CES, even virtual CES, is kind of daunting, and so I don't want to spend too much time for the folks who don't have the opportunities that we do to attend some of these things, simply because you did have to be registered or do have to be registered. But that said, I'm kind of curious just to get some general impressions as to how you think this is working. Is it working? Is it viable? I know that I did see one statistic that said that there are 1,900 exhibitors as opposed to the 4,500 that are usually there. So how's it going? David, I'll let you start.
Yeah, no, it's been an interesting experience so far. It started off with the keynotes with the opening during the day, and it was relatively easy to get to the different videos. But there were some navigation challenges. You're trying to, we had media day the first day, and of course the exhibitors weren't there yet, so you were anxious to get to the exhibitors, and you go there and there's nothing there, so you're like, oh, where's everybody? But they weren't there till just like if it was in person, they weren't there till the next day. But getting in through to talk to people. We would have to use Microsoft Teams sometimes, so that was a little bit of a challenge. But they did have chat sessions and then being able to watch videos. But I was able to still have a good experience so far, breaking away, being able to have some meetings with folks. And but overall, I think it's not bad considering they've got people that are actually. I think Justine and Rich Namero are doing the openings to guide people, and then the keynotes themselves were very, very interesting for the most part. Some were not so interesting, but so far I'm been pretty happy. I mean, it still doesn't beat being in person, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with you that some of the keynotes and some of the presentations are not interesting, but that's because they're not interesting to us. I mean, this is such a wide-ranging show that a lot of the thing, I mean, okay, I don't really care about a refrigerator, but there's a whole industry out there that does, and there's probably a refrigerator keynote somewhere. So it is so broad in scope that it's hard to say, yeah, this is not for me or that's not for me.
Right.
Andrew, how about you? I know that you've been paying quite a bit of attention to this because I've been seeing some of your posts to the Mac Observer. What is your take on this?
Yeah, I actually haven't been to a lot of actual Zoom events myself. I just get a nonstop stream of all the emails, and we all just pick and choose what we want to write about from that. One thing that we did notice is that so far, I have a lot of Mac accessories and products. It's really all about mobile. There's a lot of smart home stuff. So I don't know.
I agree with
something I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you, except that, now it seems like everything has an app component, and therefore, it connects to your phone or your tablet in some fashion. So,
yeah,
excuse me, may not be dedicated Mac or Apple, but it probably connects or interacts with it in one of your devices in some way. Guy, have you been attending things, or are you just doing the press release thing?
I've just been kind of following some of the press releases and looking online at some of the things that are being released. And I have to say that the statistic that you mentioned, that they were down from 4,500 vendors to 1,900, should be worrying to anybody who follows a big conference like this. To lose almost 2/3 of the companies that are really the lifeblood of something like this. It reminds me, in 2007, Apple released the iPhone. 2008, I think it was something else, and all of a sudden, it was either 2009 or 2010. Apple just said, we're just not going to do the Macworld Expo anymore, and it took like 4 years, but the writing was on the wall. The expo without Apple was dead. And CES is kind of a different beast because it really relies on vendors getting together with manufacturers and seeing what's out there and having them explain in person the kinds of things that the manufacturers are making, they're going to be offering over the year. And without that pressing the flesh, I think that CES could be in a lot of trouble. So hopefully next year, if everything gets to more to normal, that CES will be able to come back strong. But it is, to me, it's very worrying that so many companies have decided to bow out of it.
I agree with you, except that this is a virtual conference,
right?
And so I know that there had to be discussions.
By necessity.
Yeah, but I'm sure there were boardrooms all over the place that were having discussions about, do we spend the money to attend a virtual conference, or do we just do a press release of our own and maybe try to schedule appointments? So I guess I'm not as worried about it as I might be if this were a physical conference where we'd had that kind of drop in exhibitors.
I have a hypothesis on this.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff. Yeah, because I was going to come to you because you've covered CESs before. Right now, you're not working for a news outlet. So hypothesize and comment.
Okay, so I would have been shocked if we'd had a normal level of exhibitors for CES this year. Uh, and a lot of people don't look at CES through the correct lens, I think, which is that
Uh-oh.
there are events ahead of CES, media, and then there all of the stuff that happens for the companies that are trying to actually sell something, and then that's the rest of the event. And for a lot of these companies, like in that area of what that I like to call knockoff town, where you have all of these products in tiny little booths mashed together, and they're making all of these knockoff versions of what you can see in the big halls. There's no reason for any of those companies to have a virtual booth at CES this year, because they're there relying on the people that are going to be coming through the aisles. And that's something that literally can't happen right now. So when CES can have an in-person show again, my expectation is that we will see a sharp increase in the number of vendors that are there. And since I'm not associated with any media outlet right now, I didn't get to do Showstoppers or PepCom. So I don't know what sort of numbers we were seeing for exhibitors at those events. My guess is they were, relatively speaking, similar to what we would have had in a regular year, because they know they have the media's attention for those events.
Yeah. Before we go on, I want to welcome Frank Petrie. Frank was here earlier and was having some trouble. Frank, are you worked out now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
And you can see me?
We can see you.
Am I breathing?
Well, so far.
Well, let's hope so.
Don't touch anything.
Did they cut a woman in half yet?
Not yet.
Vertically or
You missed all the kumquats there, Frank. Sorry.
You did.
They're all
my
gone.
God, Mark brought all the fruit.
Yeah, Frank, just in
Scurvy.
case you didn't know, kumquat is Chuck's safe word.
Okay. That's more than any of us needed to know, including me.
Oh, wow.
Well, thank you, folks. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
Jeff will be here all night.
all
Make
week,
sure
yeah.
you tip your waiters and waitresses.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wait, this is live and recorded, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
Depends how you look at it.
I feel like we should apologize to somebody, but I'm not sure who.
We apologize.
Don't worry,
to
they'll
the
tell us.
universe
They'll
for
tell
that.
us.
Yeah, they'll let us know. If anyone asks, my name is Andrew Orr.
And my name is Andrew Orr.
I'm Tim Cook.
Oh, brother.
Oh,
Mark,
where we're going here.
Mark Fuccio, what do you think? I mean, I know you're not in the press business, but you have to be watching some of this stuff as things come across Twitter or Facebook or whatever feeds you use.
Yeah, so I'll table your products, just for a moment, because I want to address what Guy opened and Jeff commented on, and that is, yes, there's a lot of knockoff manufacturers, et cetera, who do come by CES, and that they're not having anything unique to show over even a virtual environment is probably not surprising. The other thing is consumer electronics is about an 85 billion market in the US. So it's not going away. And I think that just this year, we could say that the decline is a result of COVID and not any other, seasonal trend in terms of consumer electronics. So having said that, the thing that one of the things that amazed me is we even had GM there, and they announced that they're doing electronic vehicles, and that FedEx bought the first 500 to come off their line. So there's certainly a lot of interest there. CES, consumer is, sometimes it's the focus, sometimes it's just a useful event for companies to introduce cool stuff that they want to bring to the market. Some of the stuff I've been looking at is some of my interest over the past couple of years is looking at displays. And since it's come back, with the AirPods Max, some of the audio announcements and things. So it seems they're the usual suspects like, Sennheiser, Sony, et cetera, are introducing new products. The thing I was most interested in is LG, apparently introduced a rollable phone, not a foldable phone like, their competitor Samsung, has had over the past year or two, but a rollable phone. And I can't seem to find any pictures anywhere on the web that shows what this thing looks like. Everything you see is sort of a flat, flat phone that's, been opened up. So
It's a thing on YouTube, a video.
it's on YouTube. Okay.
A video, yeah, a little short. I think they did 9-minute keynotes. They truncated them. They show how it works. It's excellent to look at. I mean, it's like, I want to buy it.
So can you tell us, what does this rollable device look like, and
What it is
rolling entail?
think of sort of like an elongated. Take a take a iPhone 12 Pro, stretch it out another inch or two, then flip it into landscape mode, grab the one side and pull it out 2 inches. And it's absolutely brilliant looking. It's sort of like, well, I'll say 3/4 the size of an iPad mini.
So is the rollable just that last couple inches, or is it the entire display screen?
Well, you pull it both ways, actually. It's like the display, it's the rollable is the material
Mm-hmm.
that it's projected on. And I don't know, what were you gonna say, Guy?
I was going to say, does the screen itself roll into this, whatever it is
Yeah.
that you're grabbing and pulling
Yeah,
out?
it does. Matter of fact, they even showed a thing, and I figured who it was. Dave would know. Somebody today showed a rollable thing that sort of looked like an electronic parchment that you can open it up, and it was like about 3.5, 4 foot wide or something like that.
Well, that would
was the
eliminate the
strangest
problem
looking
of
thing.
the folds that you see on the foldable phones, where you see the creases.
Yeah, got the seams. Those were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's like under constant pressure as it's rolled and then unrolled, then it short of somebody coming up with like a hammer and smacking the crap out of it,
It should be
it should
fine.
retain its shape, right? Without creases.
Yeah.
The only thing
Yeah, I
I
mean-
might worry about is that whatever it is that it rolls into, as you constantly pull it in and out, there could be like friction marks
Mm.
as it rolls in and out of whatever it's connected to. And again, this is without seeing whatever this video is. So
That's true. When they show it, when you only see it, and they've only done it 2 times. But
And see-
if it holds up, it's like, I'm in there. I'll buy it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I guess
This is the reason why CES won't go away, because
Yeah.
the being able to be there in person and look at these products is critical, and getting the media to look at these products is critical. I remember a couple years ago, I got to see the prototypes of rollable displays, and they were really cool, and they were really fragile, and we could look at them, and they would bend them some for us, but they didn't want to do or give them to us. We could roll them up like a scroll, but they said this is coming. Just can't do that yet. So seeing those proof of concepts a couple years ago, and now seeing them in a prototype phone, it's the right year for that. I'm just bummed that's not something we could see in person, because because actually seeing that in action would be really cool.
But
Yeah.
let's not forget that one of the hallmarks of CES is that that
Vaporware?
80% of the devices never see the light of day.
Yeah.
So, that's why I hate to waste too much time on just the prototypes and the experimentals, just because, the odds
Yeah.
are that we won't see them, or we will see them in a completely different form by the time, if and when they ever hit the market.
Lots more to talk about.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Joining us is Ms. Kelly Gumon. She's been waiting patiently to be introduced, and so Kelly, welcome.
Hey, everybody. Just
Hey,
like
Kelly.
CES, there's one lady and a whole bunch of dudes.
Well,
What do they
the
call
invitation's
it?
out there for the ladies. Come on in.
Yep.
Hey, as I was watching the CEO from Best Buy. She's a lady, so she gave a good keynote. Gave a good keynote.
Oh, what,
Yeah, but Best Buy's not an electronics store.
I didn't see it. David, what were her key points?
Just talking about how Best Buy was doing a very good job of sustainability. Just able to weather the storm, and how our company came together and was able to react after the pandemic hit. And of course, they had to discuss this diversity a little bit too, because the Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. So, but more so the fact that the company was able to sustain after store closings, and all of their associates were able to continue to work. And it was very, very positive and very, very inspiring.
So did anyone here, see the GM electric truck announcement? And if so,
I did.
What do you all think?
The Hummer?
Sorry, bummer?
No, yeah, I did. I did see it. I did see it. The GMC Hummer, the EV was pretty impressive.
It's a pretty truck. It's a pretty truck.
Yeah.
And when you think that it's gone from probably what was the worst mileage of any vehicle ever made to an EV is just insane.
Does
Yeah,
it truly have to
didn't the
keep an
Chinese
extension
buy
cord
the
plugged
original
into it?
molds?
Bolt.
I actually, it's weird. I had a guy, this is no lie. I go every year. Well, I used to when we could go outside. I went to a thing for handicapped people called Abilities Expo. And some guy decided, I'm going to make a vehicle for handicapped people made here in America. And that was going to be his pitch. Well, what he did is he went out after Hummer went out of business and bought the majority of their stuff. He built new trucks and he tried to sell them off as vehicles for the handicapped and wheelchairs. 12 miles a gallon. And then this is no lie. The guy goes, but I know it's comfortable and everything and it's strong. He goes, but that's not the real good point. I said, what's the good point? He goes, follow me. Leads me to the back of the truck, opens the door, and shows me the payload. He says, you could probably get about 20 sheets of drywall rock in there. Now I'm sitting in a wheelchair facing this guy, and I go, does it look like I'm going to be picking up cinder blocks anytime soon to you? I mean, what's with you? They were nuts. But yeah, what
He didn't understand that you weren't going to rebuild the Empire State Building anytime soon.
I don't think he understood math.
Well, so is this vehicle coming out? I mean, or is this
Yes.
yet another prototype?
No, this is coming out. The other thing that impressed me was I don't know the specifics of some of the Cadillac models, but the tech that's in there. I mean, just the dashboard's filled with immersing video. I mean, being able to have touch screens and being able to see the status of the car and everything. And it was very impressive. I thought the technologies that they've put into these vehicles it's a wave of the future, but for sure.
Isn't there like some kind of problem with feature creep? Where it's just like you're overloaded with information? Because I mean the whole point of driving a car is to drive a car, not to have
it's binge watch
14 to 30 different gauges telling you what your oil pressure and temperature of the rear right seat is.
I want to binge watch the road.
I think this, from that standpoint, Guy, I think that that's going to be something that evolves. That, you know, I have this funny feeling that the way, I mean, if I were designing it, I think I would say, all right, I really don't, I can select what I want to know about, and then let the car tell me what I need to know about. So that if my, you know, if my rear seat is on fire, then yeah, I would like to know about that. But otherwise, I really don't care. So don't show me an indicator for the rear seat, you know. So
I feel
we'll
like,
see.
You know,
as far as like the dashboard, it feels like we used to have a lot of gauges. I used to drive a 1968 International Harvester with 2 gas tanks. Let's talk about mileage, right? I used to joke it got 8 gallons to the mile. And but everybody I knew could fit in the back of the truck, and it was a long distance call from one side to the other. So it was fantastic. But that said, like, it had a lot of gauges, and I also drove a late 70s Grand Wagoneer for a while, and it had like a lot of sort of instruments and things that you could pay attention to in the dash. And then it seems like in the mid to late 90s, everything just became an idiot light. Like, I'm not going to tell you what's going on, I'm just going to tell you there's a problem here that you need to pay attention to. And it was just
the red
binary.
engine light.
Right. Like, it was just check engine, and that was it. And there was nothing else. And you know, I think that probably goes hand in hand with, like, when you open the hood, there's only so much you can do with what's in the engine now versus what was in a 1968 International Harvester.
That hasn't changed.
That's a separate conversation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, it feels like we're going a little bit back the other way, to where you can actually still get some information about your car and maybe head off something before it turns into a light that comes on. Like, if you're having trouble with your oil pressure, or you're having trouble with you know, like tires is the one that I think of a lot. You know, like, if you're having a tire issue, that didn't used to be a thing that you could find out about, but now, like, it can tell you the pressure in the back one is low, and if you go fill it, you find out it's low again. Like, that helps indicate maybe there's some sort of larger issue, instead of just waiting for it to explode one day driving down the highway. So
You know, that
Yeah,
artist is, I'm sorry.
So I would parse that, Kelly, because, you know, I think there's 2 ideas that you combined there. One is better diagnostics that, you know, alert you when something's necessary, and then the other one is, you know, sort of, you know, what I call a gratuitous display of useless information. And certainly, you know, maybe the pendulum is swinging back from minimizing the amount of information, so you just get a check engine light that goes on, or time for service, you know, light that goes on, and people have been trained to take things in for that instead of knowing it's, you know, whatever, you know. I mean, also, you know, the sophistication of engines have changed, so it's no longer you need to adjust your carburetor. Now your carburetor is like you know, the injection control for, you know, Coke suspension machine. You know, everything's highly automated and regulated and sensed. So, you know, you can't go in there with a screwdriver and really turn things. It's either it's working or it's not. You know, and that's why I think we're seeing more of these, you know, binary sort of type of displays.
Right, because even if there is a problem, it's not like you can do anything about it. You can't go roll under the car and do the thing and make it better.
Or you could if you wanted to, but I mean, increasingly a lot of people seemingly don't want to. But I think, you know, the other idea is, you know, just this gratuitous display of, let's show more information as a way to market, you know, how advanced our vehicles are. And I think you know, if companies do that, I think they're going down the wrong direction. I think they're going down the boneheaded direction.
Yeah. So let's go get away from some of the I guess the higher end tech, because I don't know about you guys, it's all interesting and I like that, but I'd like to talk to the exhibitors who are making things that I'm more likely to buy in a year. I mean, I'm not in the market for a pickup truck, and I'm not in the market for a foldable phone at this point, but I came across a number of press releases and talking to some exhibitors of things that, yeah, you know, I might do that. I might absorb that. So I'm curious, you know, to take a walk around the room here and see what caught whose eye. You know, okay. Kelly, you just got here, so we'll let you start. I mean, is there a product or a couple products that really you thought were intriguing?
Something that I think is interesting overall, like as an overall trend, I haven't talked to like a ton of people about it or anything yet, is the number of approaches to noise canceling in headphones, whether it's on ear or over ear or in ear, and how what I saw a lot of this year in talking to a few different places and seeing some press releases was levels of noise canceling. So like everything seems to want to let you adjust like how much of the outside world you can hear. So like Apple is still sort of binary, right? Like you've got transparency mode or not. Those are your choices. And there's some other headphones out that are like you install an app on your device and then you can adjust the level of noise canceling. So maybe you have a little bit of noise to cancel. Like if you're in an office and there's just, general background noise, remember office buildings? If you work in like a general office with regular background noise, like maybe you have just a little bit of that on so that there's some awareness if somebody walks up and starts talking to you. But if you need to obliterate it, if you're not in an office and you're home with kids and you need to block out all of the world for an hour, you can, ratchet up that volume and do that. And I think also the last year has also forced a lot of evolution, I guess, in headphones and headsets. Mostly because like I also saw a lot of different designs. There's a lot of people getting into this. There's a lot of people getting into headsets like with a built-in microphone on one side or the other. And one that I saw from Jabra that they've started making, it's got a boom mic on it, and when you flip it up, it's automatically muted. And then, which I thought was very cool, and like obviously somebody has been using this, has used this and realized this would be a fantastic feature. When I don't have the mic in front of me, it doesn't work. And then they had another model where you flip it up and it tucks in. It's like an over-ear headset, and it sort of pops into the side, and then it just becomes headphones that you can wear. I've seen a lot of people going, why, like, it used to be that if you had headphones that were wireless headphones, you could never use them plugged into anything, and that's not the case anymore. A lot of them now you can have the wire if you want it, or wireless, you can use them while they're charging, things like that. There's been a lot of accommodation made for what feels like people are wearing their headphones a lot more than they used to. So that was a thing that I thought was pretty interesting. And also I've seen a little bit more smart home / home automation stuff this year that is compatible with the big three assistants, with Google Home and the A Lady and the S Lady. And I will tell you, I was at a booth. I guess I don't know how to pronounce the air quotes around that, at a booth. And the guy starts saying A Lady, but like saying her name like a bunch, and just sitting there talking about it. And I could feel my shoulders coming up to my ears, because I was like, no, I'm sitting here with my with my in-ears on and my microphone in front of me, like, and I'm like, you can't do it, and I like had this really weird reaction. So I realized I'm hardwired not to say it unless that's, unless I'm in another room, because I definitely don't ever say it in here, because none of them are in here for me to activate, and I'm trying not to do it to anybody else. So I was sitting there getting a little tense, and then he was done, and I was like, okay, look, I have to tell you something. So it was very fun. He was like, oh my gosh, I never even thought about that. And I'm like, yeah, and this is my podcast setup. So every time I sit here, like I was stressed out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But there's been a lot of like HomeKit compatibility that I've seen at like as a matter of course, and a lot more interoperability. So if it has a hub, like if you've got other devices, they will all sort of play nice together on a network. It's like everybody making these things is realizing that you have to be a good network citizen, or you're not going to get into somebody's house because they probably already have one other thing, and you need to make sure everything plays nice together. And a lot more fundamental security recognition, I guess, would be how I would describe that. If it's got a default admin password, you can change it to something else and things like that. Just some real basic stuff that makes it a lot easier for I'll just say Andrew and I to buy some of these things and put them in our houses, because we don't have to worry about like somebody getting into the network through this
Oh,
thing
yeah.
that we just bought. So
Yeah.
Andrew's
Um,
like, don't drag me into this, woman. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Guy, how about you? You sent me a couple items that honestly I took a real quick look at and tried not to because I didn't want to get those in my head, and I have my own list. So what were a couple of things you saw that were interesting?
Okay, do you want the weird or the normal?
Yes.
Well, given you, I mean, I think there's only
Everything's
one
weird
answer.
to you.
Oh, not
Yeah.
necessarily. I've got some
I'm all
normal
about the
things in here,
weird.
too.
Bring
right,
the
well, let's-
weird, baby.
Let's
Guy,
start with
Go weird. It's on brand.
okay.
Right,
Right.
time permitting,
Well, then-
start with weird, and then time permitting, go to normal.
Okay, well we'll start with the weird then. 3D
Yes!
printed steaks.
Whoa.
These are now, the kind of faux meats that you've been seeing for like the last couple of years has been like ground beef and patties and things like that. Apparently there is new uses of technology in 3D printing that are allowing food scientists, now I'm reading this direct, food scientists and tech visionaries to create alternatives for whole cut meats, reimagining vegan steaks that still offer the same flavor and texture as real steaks. And I'm kind of throwing up in my mouth a little bit as I'm saying this.
I would too.
That's not a thing, but I think Chuck's going to be into it because it's one step closer to a replicator.
Well, it's probably what Star Trek is all about, is 3D printed steaks. All right.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
I mean, there is. I mean, Kelly, you're not completely wrong because we've been hearing about
We've
different
met,
things like
Chuck.
this, and so it may be an intermediate. That's obviously an intermediate step, but who's to say? Who's to say?
Every now and then in the news, I do hear
And
about
it's
3D
awesome.
printed organs for the
Yeah.
medical industry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like there was.
Yeah, but
ears,
they're
I
not
think, were for-
intended. They're not intended for like permanent use right now. It's the kind of thing where you need a heart, or you need a kidney, or you need some part of something else that you have in your body right now, and there's not a
Yeah.
donor available. So what
It's not-
do?
Yeah.
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 Not a heart,
Right.
but just the valve or something.
Okay.
Like a piece. But yeah.
Yeah.
Another weird one. Is your cat descended from Cleopatra? There's a company called Base Paws that brings DNA testing to cats, showcasing the allure of pet tech for really dedicated pet owners. Base
Andrew,
Paws
why
founder
haven't you
and
written this up?
How much does it cost?
I don't know. And CEO Anna Skaya, I believe, developed the world's first at-home DNA test for cats, which tells cat owners more about their cat's breed, nutrition, environment, and genetics, and enables owners to take better care of them. I don't see it as irrational, said Skaya about owners' love for their pets on CES Tech Talk podcast. I want my pets to have the best. Now, the one thing it doesn't mention here is either the heavy leather gloves or medical kit that will be required to take a DNA sample from your cat. That's not listed here, but I imagine it's got to be part of it.
And how much does
Now-
it cost?
No idea.
So
It's-
this is another vaporware. This is another seemingly vaporware type of.
Well, this is probably because I mean there's
No.
already
No,
Well,
there's
most
a-
of the
testing
way
for-
there.
for
I
everything.
mean,
Yeah,
They'll do it for dogs.
I would say 3D printed
I know,
steaks
I
are
know
much
that.
farther away from being reality than DNA testing for
I
cats.
Right,
mean-
so the thing is, if they don't have, so there's two questions. If they don't have a price, to me, right away, that's a red sign, that a red flag that it's not real. And then the other thing
It's-
is, okay, if you're going to get really nerdy about it, what's the veracity of the sample of the DNA of Cleopatra's cat?
Well,
So-
that's the thing.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
you
my
start
guess
off
is
you
they give
start
you
off with a
something-
base of saying, okay, well here's DNA for what's considered to be pure Siamese or pure Himalayan
right.
or pure Scottish fold or pure, name whatever breed you're talking about.
Right.
And then you intermix that with the DNA from, Scruffy down the street who got out one night and came back pregnant. And you figure out, okay, well, these kittens are like part whatever that was out there and part Scruffy. So,
Yeah, because I know there's
I mean-
there's services that will do it for dogs. You used to see them all the time, and
Yeah.
sort of the air remember when you could travel on an airplane, and remember when airplanes had their in-flight, magazines?
I'm sorry, what's an airplane?
Okay.
Airplanes?
Like I said, you don't remember. It's one of the
So-
words that vanished in 2020. But there used to be all these services that you could figure out. Okay, what are the breeds? If you have a mutt, what are the breeds in your mutt?
Right.
And it's service for like $89 or $99.
So, what was the name of this place, Guy?
It's Base Paws, BASEPAWS.
Okay, the fact that they did not call it 23 and Meow.
They did.
Oh,
They did. It's actually, that
Oh.
is what it's called, 23 and Meow.
No.
According to according to this article.
I
mean,
only have
I've
one
got a
que-
link. I'll put the link in our little
Chuck,
chat here.
you have
But
several
before I
questions.
do that,
I know
I've
you do.
got one normal.
Oh my
one
God.
normal thing.
You are not
Okay.
kidding. I just looked it up. 23 and Meow.
Yes,
Oh my
I
god.
Okay,
wasn't
well,
kidding.
I was gonna have to make a full
Was
point
that
deduction
Sergey's
for that, but no, they get full points.
Oh, and check this out. It isn't like this is exactly brand new. They were hyping this through CES. I found an article August 14, 2019.
Oh,
Wow.
So
in the
last
before
year
times.
or 2
Wow.
years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. But they still don't have a price on it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, Guy, yeah,
normal
real
thing
quick,
before
one normal thing.
we go on. Okay, everyone knows about Pioneer. Everyone knows about CarPlay and Android Auto receivers. And frankly, I would not buy a car today that did not have CarPlay in it. However, if you have a car that does not have CarPlay, Pioneer has a new Android Auto Apple CarPlay unit, the DMHWT8600NEX, and that name just rolls right off the tongue.
WTF BBQ 3DS.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But what makes this different is it's a single DIN chassis with no custom installation. So
Oh.
essentially you've got like an 8-inch, 6 to 8-inch screen, depending on which model you get, that's slammed up against a single DIN chassis. The single DIN chassis goes in where your old radio used to be.
Yeah.
And now it sticks out a little bit from your dash, and you have a touch screen that you can use with Android Auto and CarPlay.
Hello,
No, that's
sailor.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
take the old one
my
out.
son Peter just bought a 2016 Nissan Sentra with a single DIN radio. And the one thing it didn't have when I went out to help him get this car was it didn't have CarPlay. And he was like, oh, well, I don't know, but I don't really care. I got Bluetooth. I can listen to music. It's like, you have no idea what you're missing. Because once you have CarPlay,
Yeah.
you won't want to drive a car that doesn't have CarPlay.
I know what I'm
So,
missing. I
yeah.
just don't drive enough to probably justify it. What's the street price on that bad boy?
I don't know if they've announced it, though there was a link that was out there. I don't have it here in my show notes, to Crutchfield, which means that it is a unit
It's an actual thing. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
out there and available. So
Crutchfield.
yeah, if you go to crutchfield.com,
Oh, hello.
and I will put right now, I will put, oh, come on pages. I will put the
That's
model name in our show notes.
so
It's
one
the
DIN.
DMH-WT8600NEX.
Google it.
That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a crappy name, but
It is.
really clever.
It is.
design.
Model name.
Its friends call it Vicky, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just call
So-
me Horatio.
So
Poor Mr. Kelly. He's gonna come home tonight, and I'm gonna be like, "How much longer are we keeping the Subaru? Because if we're keeping it, it needs an upgrade." So
David, jump in. What do you got?
Yes, I got. I'll get two things here. First one that's brought that. Yeah, I'm going to talk normal stuff here. Okay.
Was there normal stuff?
Kingston just came out with a really cool workflow station for card readers for photographers. This thing was really slick. It
that looks cool.
Yeah, it has these. It has 4 slots with USB-C plugs on them, and you can buy mix and max. It's called the flexible workflow system, and you can do SD cards, micro SD cards, and it's got USB-C plug on it. So you can take these modules out and plug them in directly into your computer. But you could also have the station and be able to the copy between all the cards all the time. It was really, really cool. So it comes with the station plus an actual one of the card readers, and then you can buy 3 others to add to it, whether it be micro SD, SD, and interchange them. The street price is $135. And I think those other adapters, I think they told us told me like around $40. So I thought that was really cool. And then the other one was a company I had just interviewed today. Actually, it's made by a company called Fedging. I mispronounced it, so it's an iPad. It's an iPad, and I felt bad when he corrected me. It's called the Hubble. Well, it was okay. It's
Oh,
the
the
Hubble.
Hubble.
The
Hubble iPad
Yeah.
case. Yeah. And I interviewed these guys. These guys are it was a really, really cool product. What it is it'll be for the iPad Pro 11 or the iPad Pro 12.9. And it has a full out hub on it, which includes incredibly pencil support. It's got a travel switch. You can turn it on and off so it doesn't take up battery power. 2 USB-C ports, one of them for charging, USB-A port, SD and micro SD card, plus it has a 4K HDMI connector, so you can plug it in, and they added an audio jack, because people miss that audio jack, so you can plug in. This case was it was on Kickstarter. He told me today, and then it's going to be out in February. It's $99 for the 11-inch, and I think $110 for the 12.9 inch. So really, really cool. 2 really cool boxes to me. I have more, but we don't have time.
Yeah, and I want to go around and hit a couple things. I want to throw a couple in. Shoot, and I lost the one. I lost it already. Well, first, how about arguably one of the most absurd products that we'll probably sell a few of, but that is a $16,000 bathtub from Kohler.
Yeah, that's surprising.
That it does everything that you can imagine a bathtub would do, and even more. But really, I don't quite understand.
Disposable money.
This is just brand building.
The thing is, Chuck, if you don't have it, you just wouldn't understand.
Well, that's possible. But I do want to give Kohler though and Moen a little bit of credit, and especially Kohler, because if you get past the bathtub, they were showing some of their kitchenware, and I have to admit, I really didn't see any point in having an A-Lady interface to my faucet. That just didn't make a lot of sense.
Well, they had it to the shower head last year, so
yeah. But now I have to tell you, when they were talking about it and they were showing, and the guy said, "Yeah, A-Lady, give me a cup of water." And it dispensed a cup of water, a measured cup of water.
Okay. I see it now.
Yes, give me a quart of water. And it gave you a quart of water. And it's like, okay, they're pushing the idea of water conservation, which kind of flies in the face of the $16,000 bathtub. But that said, it's like, okay, I would not have thought of that. I get it. And they were showing that, the touchless turn on, turn off, change the temperature, and making a point that you can do some of this stuff without ever touching anything. And it's like, okay, now I'm starting to appreciate the fact that this makes a certain amount of sense. So, kind of good and bad. The other one I wanted to mention is, and I hope I'll pronounce it right, Nupal. Did any of you see Nupal?
I saw the
name go by.
To ask.
Yeah, Nupal is something that attaches to the bottom of your iPhone.
Slow your roll, guy. It's fine.
And it's a hearing. It's hearing assist. Now that's not really new.
That's who they were. Okay.
Yeah, but the idea was that you can take this device, and if you have AirPods Pro, you can steer it. Normally you'd attach it and you'd aim it, and so here I'm aiming at David, and here I'm aiming at Mark. But if you have AirPods Pro, you steer it with your head. Where
so the
you
person
turn
you're looking at is what it's picking up. I saw their press release,
That's
and it looked
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
It was very.
What's the name of the company?
Nupal. Wait a minute.
Nupal?
Like
Again, I'm hoping to pronounce
Nouple or something like that.
I like the name.
They need a new name. If you can't remember after talking about it.
Yeah, but I mean the
Kumquat.
an OOPL. Yeah.
N-O-O?
NOOPL. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and It was
Yeah, 'cause
very, very cool.
I saw
wanted
that go by, and I'm interested in the assisted hearing stuff. I know people who could benefit from it without it having to be a whole thing to necessarily have hearing aids or something. Like they're like people in that neighborhood between like I have average hearing and I could use an assistive device, and there's like a there's a gap in between those, and I know some
Yes.
people who kind of live in that valley, and so finding something like this, like if you just would stick one of your AirPods in during the day, like you would it would be much easier for you to hear people, or along the lines of what Nupal is doing. That so I'm always kind of keeping an ear out for that to see when that turns into something I can sort of soft pitch. So
Yeah.
So Chuck, how much did it cost? Did they have a price or?
I do not believe they did, Mark. If they do, I don't remember it. But I want to definitely want to do an interview with them, because it's one of those things that it looked, I read about it, it's like, and then when he showed it to me, it's like, oh man, you really have to see it and see the interface to understand what's happening. And once you understand it, then it takes on a whole new depth of meaning. So yeah, I definitely am going to be talking to them.
Right, because I mean this leads to bridges to one thought I've had in the back of my mind for for a while, since Apple introduced the AirPods Pro with when they introduced, when was it, WWDC or in the fall, the audio changing capability, that would be perfect as a hearing aid assist device, because everyone complains about how much they're raped, and pillaged for the price $5,000, $6,000 for hearing aids. And, basically Apple has it there. They just need a little bit of app support. So with this new thing, that sounds like that's truly going to be fascinating. And, again, we're all, fantasizing about what future Apple products or, apps might be, but that would be something I think that would be good for people and good for the world in general.
Yeah. Jeff, I know you've been probably just watching on a little more casual basis, but what have you seen? Anything that caught your attention?
Well, the first thing that caught my attention was, excuse me, what I wasn't seeing, and that was a big push for home office products. I really expected we would see a lot of that this year, simply because so many
That's where
people
everybody
are
is.
now
Yeah.
working from home.
I have a partial counter to that, but it's like 30%.
Yeah. Well, okay. And thank you for that validation, because if you could give me only a 30%, to me, that actually backs up my feeling that,
Yes, indeed.
it was a target poor year for home office.
All I
And
really
was
saw was
really
headphones.
impressed.
Like I said earlier, like the headphones and the and
like the Jabra
headsets.
stuff.
That was about it that I really saw that could even be construed as this is a great thing for folks who are working from home now. I saw that. I saw one other product from a different company, and that was it. It was a sit stand laptop stand, so that you can work someplace else and still get have your laptop at like a reasonable angle, and then also to raise and lower the level, so like if it has to be at the table and you have to stand up or something, you can make it taller. That was like all I saw. That was everybody works at home now, and we're kind of and we're doing something to assist with the new reality for a lot of people. Here's the thing.
Well,
And there really wasn't a lot of that.
Do you think the problem could be that most of the stuff that you see at conferences like this have been in the works for a very long time, whereas it's been about a year since all of this kind of first started.
Yeah.
And there's a very good possibility that people just haven't had the chance to dedicate resources toward home office products, thinking possibly that by the time they got it researched and they got it developed and they got it marketed and they got it to market out there for people to buy, the pandemic could be over and everyone's back at the office again.
Well,
that's probably not going to be the way it's going to happen.
Let me interject, to your comment, Guy, and this is the 30%. I was saying about Jeff is I saw there's a variety, 4 maybe 5 different themes on home purifiers or air purifiers. and some of them just seemed like, there are new companies out there whose names I had never heard of, and I certainly don't remember. They were basically offering little compact devices that have a HEPA filter in it and will run a fan and suck up air and spit it back out. There were a couple that seemed to have, in addition to having air and having a filter, they would actually have a UV ultraviolet light generator, so that it would kill anything that it's spinning back out. So
if it's in the house, you're already breathing it in.
Yeah, it's too late.
You've
at that
already
point.
breathed it
thing
in.
is-
Yeah.
So this is the thing. They were all talking about them. The range from anywhere from like 200 to 500 square feet. So they had obviously thought about it. And one of them was battery operated. So I think, like you said, COVID is new. So people are hustling. And to me, the test was, okay, could they articulate a price, or if there's no price at CES, I just think it's just a dream and we never materialize.
Well,
But
a lot
also-
of products that you see at CES that don't have a price on them, this is a test
Market
place.
research. It's market
Yeah.
research.
This is market research. Yeah.
And they see what sort of interest there is in the product, and then they decide if they're going to move forward with it. Yeah. So,
The-
all right.
They
The,
gauge you
the
that
thing
way.
that I did like, or that I am interested in, that I saw, and this is actually not like home office or computer related, and for me is actually a first, and it's television related. I have never been interested in televisions at CES. And every year I would look to see what they were pushing, to know what the next thing is that they're hoping that they can trick consumers into thinking they need to get them to buy TVs more often. We went through the 3D television phase. We went
Yeah.
through all those curved television. Just every
What's
year was like something
this
else.
year?
So this year I saw something where I thought, oh, this is actually really compelling. And it's from LG. They have a new line of OLED televisions that cost a lot less than other OLED TVs on the market.
Mhm.
And I saw that and I'm like, okay, this is actually compelling, because there's a lot of cool stuff that goes along with the OLED TVs, but honestly, they're just priced out of a lot of the
Most people's
markets.
market. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
really are.
So now we have the A series, which brings the prices down. I mean, this isn't something like you're going to go buy a 55-inch TV at Best Buy or Walmart for $250 and go home with it. But if you want to get into that OLED space, and it's just been a little too pricey for you so far, that A series is coming out, and I think that is going to help drive the market to a place where OLED becomes more affordable across the board.
That's awesome.
And and at that point, maybe it'll finally be time for me to look at replacing my, seriously, I think it's a 15-year-old Sony Bravia 32-inch TV.
Let me
Oh.
know when you do, Jeff. Mr. Kelly is also known as Mr. Research, and I know way more about TVs than any reasonable person ever needs to know. And
Awesome.
recently Costco has started putting, I think they're 60 or 70-inch TVs out front. That's like one of the nice OLED ones. And he came home a little faint and a little flushed. I think he's got a case of TV fever. So
I can appreciate
yeah.
that.
So let me know when you're looking, and I'll help you sort it out.
Awesome. You rock.
You're welcome.
Frank, you brought the scrollable phone to the party. What else did you see as you were watching things go by?
I'm sorry, you're talking to me?
Yeah, Frank. Yes, you're
Oh,
Frank.
I'm sorry. I didn't. Actually, I
You're
didn't
kind of our
see
default
much
Frank until someone else shows up, hon.
until you get a hot dog. No, I only saw several of those 9-minute things, and they were all pushing TV screens. And I mainly came away with emotional stuff. First of all, I thought it was interesting that also TCL seems to be the sperm that's really moving on TVs.
Right. Who are they?
But the two things that really hit
Chinese.
me was that while watching Intel's 9-minute keynote, I kept thinking of Harold Lloyd hanging off the hands of that clock 40 stories up, because I kept thinking, I felt so bad for them. It's like, you guys aren't going to be around in 2 years. Why are you spending all this money? I don't get it. I felt bad for them. And the other thing that drove me nuts, and it also spills out a bit past this, was all these personal assistant robotics. And I've also seen things lately of all the robotic pets and stuff. And being a person with my health issues who lives on their own, there was something very, very creepy to me that I'm supposed to befriend these electronic devices. It reminded me of Sleeper by Woody Allen. And it just creeped me out to no end. I mean, I'm sure there's things there that I'll see when I get to watch all the vids that I'll want to buy. But those two impressions, that robotic stuff, just who was that here? I wrote it down. It was Samsung. They did things. Not the air purifier. I like Kelly, the small air purifier. I really like that idea. That's great for my studio apartment. But the whole idea that we're going to replace interaction between humans and pets with robotics for people, that just really scared me something crazy.
Is it like Uncanny Valley, or is it like Planet of the Apes kind of scary?
Yes.
No, it was just
Planet of the Uncanny
something
Valley.
about it seemed so insane. It was like people weren't thinking about people; they were thinking more about bottom line.
Yeah.
That was it. The
Samsung
person,
was very
the
focused on
human
it,
did
yeah.
not matter. It was just pure bottom line, and that's it.
But see, I thought it
saw-
was I thought the pet thing was interesting. Like a year or two, maybe it was 2 years ago, there was some sort of little robot-y companion that was like not meant
Yeah.
to be a dog or anything like that. Like it's a special robot-y shape. Like it's not trying to be anything that you already know. And it's your little like go around the house and be companion. And I thought for some people, like for some people that might be great. Like if you're a person who because like the point of it was to be a companion for somebody who needed a little bit of assistance. Like if you were somebody who could get by with maybe a seeing eye dog, but like you didn't have to worry about feeding it or, not feeding it, and you didn't have to worry about walking it all the time. And if you're a person with mobility issues, that might be difficult, but you could still have
I have
the
that.
companion and then help.
I know.
Let me interrupt here.
Yeah.
I think you and Frank you're talking past each other. You're making different points.
I was just saying my take on it was that this is what I thought it would be interesting in that way, and that was it. Like that one, not like what stuff Samsung had this year. I thought was kind of odd too.
No, I just saw a thing the other night where somebody came out with version 2 of an electronic dog.
Mm-hmm.
And this person was so excited, and they were bringing it up to them and hugging them and putting it around their face. And I was just like, what have we become?
But Frank, there are people that may or may not be on this podcast that have been on the show that name their devices and become emotionally attached to their laptops, their Macs, their cars.
He means me, Frank.
I wasn't bringing up any names, but it's
in the closet door.
and that fascinates me. So I don't think this is as far off as you might think it is. I agree with you. I think I don't get it. But
I think that we can let it get to that point is a sad statement on us.
No, it's not a sad statement. I don't think it's a sad statement. I just think it speaks
I'm just
to,
saying from my personal experience being in that position.
But
to me, to have someone say, "Here, we've got a what do they call them? They bring them in the hospitals to help cheer up the kids.
Yeah.
Therapy
Oh,
dogs.
companion
dogs.
animals.
Therapy
Clowns?
dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want a companion bot.
Okay.
To me, that's really, really spooky. And it's really cold hearted.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, I can too. But also somebody on the panel said they had a robo dog as a pet at one point. I'm not
Yeah,
mentioning.
but that was when I was a kid.
Yeah, but that's
I
Andrew.
wasn't
I like
mentioning
that.
names.
I love that Chuck's being super diplomatic about like somebody, and I'm over here
He
like
just
my
admitted
phone
it.
is
Yeah.
my
Yes,
phone's
let's
name
be-
is R2D2, and I call it by
Right.
its name. Yes.
And you
Yeah,
think
but let's be
Facebook
fair,
knows too
Andrew's
much
been
about
drinking
people?
since he
What
was
about
4.
Chuck?
And should I
That's
point out
true.
that earlier in this conversation we had a discussion about testing for cat DNA. So
Yeah.
did any of you
Which
sort of
is
on this
weird.
topic? Did any of you see what is it? The Mouflin? I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's an AI emotional support pet.
No.
Did you see this?
Yes. And it was
I just briefly
the
saw
design
it.
was weird, I thought.
It looks like a tribble, a cross between a tribble and a gerbil.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
A
I
turtle.
passed over thinking it's just okay. Somebody's spinning AI into into something. I just moved on.
Yeah.
Electronic hamster.
You know, so several years ago, I was one of the products that I saw at CES was to me like the grandfather of the Moodle or whatever they call this thing, and it was a pillow that had sensors in it, and so it's this thing about like this big, and
I remember this.
yeah, and well, there's pictures of me hugging it like this out on the internet. And
Of course there are.
of course,
After how many bottles?
You should see the pictures that aren't on the internet.
boy, howdy. And the thing is, when you would hold it and squeeze it, it would do like like a gentle heartbeat sort of thing, or like a purring sort of thing. And on one hand, you think, well, geez, this is really inhuman, because these are the sorts of things that we should all be able to get just from our interaction with other people. But there's a lot of people out there that, for whatever reason, can't have that interaction. Like
I know that. I'm one of them.
and I just love. Well, no, I don't mean like in that way. I mean like they are someone who needs that, but they're not capable of interacting with other people in a way where they can
handling
get
it
that.
in a way that is not going to be
Social-
detrimental to all parties concerned.
Yes.
Socially
And-
acceptable.
And
Yeah.
so
well,
they
not
can have
necessarily
something like
socially
this,
acceptable.
Yeah.
and they can have that. And so on one hand, I look at these things and I'm like, it's just, I don't know. But on the other hand, especially after this year where we've all had so much isolation, I'm thinking, if you can create something that that can help someone that really needs to have that sense of being connected, and it just happens to be this little computerized furry thing, but it does it for them, man, bring it on.
Yeah. I think Jeff
Yeah.
and you and I talked about this on a show, I think at one point somewhere
We
out there
probably
on
have.
the internet. Because it was, I remember it being the before times, and it was about like there are like loneliness was the last like thing that people were saying was a public health crisis, was loneliness.
Mhm.
That
Big thing in
because-
health, mental
and because
health.
everybody has a screen or several or more than several or whatever, like it's easy to increasingly isolate yourself even when you feel like you're connected to the rest of the world, because you've got Twitter here and Facebook here and whatever and whatever and whatever, and so you feel like you have all of this connection to people, but it's not the same as the hug with the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like, I remember, because I know how weird this sounds, but maybe it wasn't even on a podcast, but I remember you and I having this conversation. And so that's, and I think it was around this thing that you saw at CES. And so that's why it seems familiar. But yeah,
Yeah.
like loneliness is totally a thing that needs to be addressed, which is a totally different conversation. But like in some instances, I can see the point of it. So yeah.
Well, but also, I mean, if there was ever a year that loneliness could become a public health crisis, this has been it. You know, because I know people that are just they would break down doors to get back in an office to be around people.
Mhm.
And you know that really that part of it intrigues me because I happen not to have that issue, but I do know people that do, and it's very, very real. It's not something to snicker at. It's absolutely true.
No, no,
So,
sure.
I
you
know that totally.
Yeah.
but also and I want to be real careful here with how I characterize this, but
Yeah.
the Japanese market seems to be very much accepting of this whole robotic interaction thing.
Mhm.
And you know, I mean, when we back in the years we could walk CES, I mean, all the Japanese specifically, you know, all those their robots seem to have a specific look, you know, with the big round faces. I mean, almost manga kind of, you know, thing. And I that seems to be a place where this has taken hold and is a lot more popular. So I'm not willing
more
to discount
cultural.
it.
Yes,
Yeah,
part of that is if you look at the Japanese population, you know, it's a lot elder. You know, it's a lot older than, say, the median age in Japan is a lot older, you know, than the median age in the U.S. And I think, you know, therefore, you know, the need for, you know, companions, be it, you know, pets or electronic devices that emulate pets, is a little bit more pronounced. And I think Japanese culture may be a little bit more, you know, open to doing some of these things where
Well, they're very tech centric to begin with.
yeah.
But I think there's also a certain pragmatism to what that we don't see the pragmatic part of it in their culture, but I think that's a lot of it. Like there's a whole lot of people who all live very, very close together, and you know and understand a lot about the realities of what life is like in Japan. And so some of what spins out of their culture that we see is part of that. Like I'm a huge Sanrio fan because Sanrio makes Hello Kitty, for people who playing along at home who don't think that sounds familiar. And I adore Hello Kitty, but they have a bunch of other characters, and one of their characters is this like it's this egg, and he's depressed all the time. So he's called Gudetama, and he just sort of lays around and mopes a lot. And like he is ridiculously popular in Japan. This character who's not happy like ever. And
Couldn't
just
they just
like
get
I'm
a
not
U.S. teenager?
right.
I mean, maybe, but I think the egg takes up less space and is way lower
Oh
maintenance.
yeah, that's true. That's
there's
true.
And you
that,
don't have
so-
to pay for college.
But they're both correct.
Yes.
Also
Also true. So
So
like
anyway.
I think there's a certain amount of that also comes out of it, is just sort of the reality of being you know, one of millions of people who live on an island, you know, a much smaller island, and what it's like to, you know, fit everybody into that space, and what life is like, you know, there with you know, like I have not been to Japan. I know people who've been to Japan, and all of them have
I
said
have.
like I've never seen a more densely populated place in my entire life.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
I took the subway from near where the U.S. Embassy was to the electronics area. This is back in the 80s.
yeah.
And being the size person that I am,
Oh my God.
I got into the subway car.
Go
Yeah.
down.
And it was like, oh my God. Well, actually, I have a
Small
really
guy.
funny story about what happened to me at the Tokyo Tower, which is an exact duplicate of the Eiffel Tower, but I won't go into that right now. But yeah, everywhere you go, there's just lots and lots of people. And part of the reason why I think these virtual pets are so popular is because taking care of real pets is a time suck that so many Japanese people within their culture just don't have the time to do. And being responsible means that they understand that, and they're not going to just get a living thing that they can't take proper care of, so that they have these substitutes.
Yeah. That's what
So
I mean.
wanna-
Pragmatism of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get back to CES, but one thing I can't let this alone, guy, on that point. I mean, think how popular Farmville was. You know that, and I know that's not a pet, but I mean, people would just take an incredible amount of time to
And money.
and money
Yeah.
to tend these
Yeah.
imaginary crops.
All right.
And
Mhm.
it's
On that same
fascinating.
note, SimCity was almost
SimCity.
exactly the
Tom-
same thing. Roller Coaster Tycoon. All of these,
Tamagotchi
Yeah.
was a pet.
Yep.
That actually was a pet.
all of
Yeah.
these resource management, build your empire kind of games are very popular here in the US, because I think partially because of the culture of the US, which is more of a melting pot than really almost anywhere else in the world. We have the cast-offs of, there's a great line in Stripes that Bill Murray says. He says basically, all of the mutts of the world came to the US, and that's who we are. So the fact that so many people enjoy doing something like SimCity or Roller Coaster Tycoon or so many of these other resource management games doesn't surprise me, being that they seem to be more popular in the US than in other parts of the world.
So we're starting to run short on time, and before we go around and introduce anybody or each other, I want to find out: is there anything, just overall, an extra product or an observation on how things are being done or whatever that struck you? And I think that's going to be more for the people that are attending CES, but maybe you have some observations from a distance.
I'll jump in here if I may.
Yeah, Mark.
So I noticed, Sony was coming out with a couple announcements that seemed really significant to me. One was they had their Sony 360, I don't remember their model name, speaker. So it looks like, they are participating in the
Smart speaker.
renaissance, let's call it the renaissance of, home audio, high quality home audio devices. And they're also coming out with a drone, with I guess its distinguishing feature is its capability that you can put various high quality Sony cameras on it. So that seems significant to me. The other thing is, just besides air purifiers, along sort of the health thing, there was some other company, or maybe two of them, that came out with ideas for bands or watches that they claimed could be glucose monitors. I don't know if they're FDA approved, yada 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 yada, but that seems to me that there's this continuing ongoing trend of health monitoring based on stuff that you strap to your wrist. And finally, I guess the third point is NVIDIA came out with a range of new graphic cards, more performance at lower power consumption. So this is good for gamers, as well as sort of a lot of the shadow uses of their game cards for mining Bitcoin and all the other cyber currencies. So that was particularly interesting to me. Other than that, as I said before, cars, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that I just haven't had time to look at. But it's even though it's been virtual, it seems like it has been a very interesting year, maybe even more significant than last year in 2020.
Mark, when you started with Sony, I thought sure that you were, and I'm serious about this, that you were going to mention that they are going to be launching a streaming service, but only for their Bravia TVs.
Bravia Plus.
I think that was what it's, yeah.
I must-
Allegedly Blu-ray quality streaming, but only for those TVs.
I must
Well,
admit,
they've got better
I'm
bandwidth
not
there.
surprised, because streaming is a battle. Streaming is a battle for the attention. And the question is, Chuck, did they announce prices or just the concept?
I saw it in passing, Mark, and I honestly, it was one of those, like, the concept is interesting that I would be tied to. Oh, guys, That's a real cat. You scared me
It
for a
was
second.
yeah, no, not a toy. This is not
Sorry. Sorry.
Where do you put the batteries?
A library of Signing does have a librbrary of video assets, so that
Meow, bitty, bitty, bitty. Meow.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see just what comes of that. But I thought that's where you were going with that. Who else? Anybody else? Jeff, you want to,
Yep.
anything struck you?
Yeah. And of course, this is something you knew would end up coming from me. The CE.
I know exactly where you're headed.
Kelly
Hold
knows
on.
where I'm going.
Let me get
yeah.
popcorn. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Okay.
so CES has always had this this weird relationship with sex and sexuality, where they like to exploit it until it became something that you actually were going to try and market, and then they really get cold feet. And having the in-person show made it much easier to find and intelligently discuss the sex toys, the sex aids. And this year, because it's not a live show, I think that segment of the market is really hurting. And it
Mhm.
disappoints me that they have to suffer because the show
Yeah.
can't be in person.
Because the nice thing about it was it was the same. Jeff, I might do a bad job of describing this. It was the same kind of casual informational conversation you could have at another booth about a charger or some sort of iPhone technology or something about televisions or something in displays. Like, here's what it is, here's what it does. Here's the thing that's neat about ours. Like, if you've seen this before, here's how ours is different. And none of it was, ooh, and nobody had to use a clever metaphor for anything. And like, I just remember being weirded out by the conversation because it wasn't weird, if that makes any sense. It was a direct, very ordinary sounding conversation to have with somebody. What is it? Why is it cool? How is this one different from the other one I saw? And it was really nice to have to be able to like have that conversation with somebody. And it always seems to be, like you said, I think that's part of what made it rougher this year, because getting to talk to those folks in person was always kind of nice.
It was. And actually, I enjoyed that when I would go, and you'd have to go on a hunt to find their booths because they were just like stuck in, almost as if CES wanted to hide them. But when I'd walk up to their booths every year, the same people would be working the booths, and they'd see me and they were excited to see me because they knew that it wasn't going to be some stupid thing where I was just trying to get a shock value story out of them.
Right.
And as we're having this discussion, I'm realizing, man, I loved going to CES every year. I had so much fun going to CES every year. And I'm feeling like now I need to start going to CES again because I was getting to talk to a lot of really cool people and see a lot of really cool stuff. And in some cases get products some visibility that deserved it, but otherwise wouldn't get it.
Well,
David, I think
if it's in person next year, Chuck's going to need a production assistant.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe by the time next year rolls around, if it's in person, I'll need a production assistant.
There you go. There you go.
I've
Hey.
never actually been
Jeff.
to either
Oh,
CES or Las
We'll
Vegas.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Guy, you are not allowed. You are the Mentos in the Diet Coke of Las Vegas. That's not supposed to ever happen.
I think
Yeah,
that sounds
I'll,
about right.
I'll add one thing. I mean, yeah, the Mark got the first one with the Sony getting into the drone market, and then Wi-Fi, it keeps evolving. They announced the Wi-Fi 6E certified routers, so TP-Link and Asus both announced them, and that's going to continue to evolve. So I mean, I think that's always an exciting thing.
So David,
as Wi-Fi continues to change.
I have a question on that. I think many of us here, have appreciated in the past, Apple's AirPort various devices.
Yeah.
These new ones, are they freaking ugly? With multiple antennas, as the company, Cisco and Linksys market, or are they actually something that is a little bit more discreet, like some of the Eero devices that you wouldn't mind putting out, on your table or on your bookshelf or something?
The Asus one looked okay, but the TP-Link one looks like a mash of antennas. So you
Like the
probably
old
wouldn't.
ones.
Yeah, you would not appreciate it being out in the open in that case.
Yeah,
No.
there hasn't been a lot done with the aesthetics on these yet, and I think it's still because people think they live like in a closet behind a thing.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to see them. But what I have noticed is that the UI on some of them has started sucking a lot less.
Yeah.
And so
Even-
that's
even-
been
even
helpful.
next
Like,
year.
yeah, like you don't have to call your family tech support person in order to get one of these up and running. It's very possible for a person with a reasonable amount of computer knowledge. If you can operate your smartphone competently, then you can get one of these things up and running in your house. And that did not used to be the case. So
Yeah, they've gotten better.
I've noticed that, like, yes, they have started looking better, but it's the software side that has, not the hardware side.
Yep. Yeah,
Andrew,
you'll
I'm
still
gonna-
see antennas.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm going to give you the last one before we wrap up. Anything that caught your eye as you went by that we haven't touched on?
Sateki introduced a bunch of new products.
Mhm.
So they had like a couple of announcements that were CES, and then they released some new products that just happened to be released on CES week. So those ones were a bunch of new keyboards. There are wired and wireless, and they're all backlit. They all come in like compact and bigger sizes. Yeah, probably one of those. They have
I love
a
this
couple of
keyboard.
new. Yeah, they look nice.
It's
They had
backlit. You can connect it to like 3 different devices. It's USB-C rechargeable. What's not to like?
Yeah.
Is it mechanical? How does it feel? Is it like typing on your MacBook keyboard?
It's not as good, but there were so many other pluses to it that I didn't care. I wanted a backlit keyboard. I wanted to be able to, because I've got 2 different computers down here.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to use it with both computers so I don't have even more of a mess of what I have here already. The only other thing I have that kind of does the same thing is this Jellycomb trackball that also connects up to like 3 different things. And it just makes it so much easier. I just hit a button and I'm connected to the other computer.
Ah.
Interesting.
Logitech, the new Logitech top of the line mouse does that as well. The MX Master 3.
I could not get my M570 to connect to the M1 Mac Mini. Didn't matter what I did. It would not connect. And
that's
this
not a left
Yeah, well, the new one is
it
one of
looks-
it does that, the Bluetooth, and you like hit the button on the bottom and it switches from device to device and then you're done. So, ooh.
It looks
they don't-
just like the M570 and it works just like it too.
But they
Did
don't have
make
a left-handed version.
version?
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
Last time
Because
I
my
looked,
wife
no.
is left-handed, so I would, but she likes mice, so she's using a Microsoft Arc mouse.
That's
She
a
really
nice
likes
mouse.
the Arc mouse for some reason, and she just sets
'Cause it's super comfy. That's why.
yeah, she just sets the buttons to their opposite, and she's good to go. Of course, anytime I have to go up and do anything, it's like, I can't. My fingers are just not acting right. Isn't that right, Jelly?
Exactly as it should be.
Yeah.
Is that how she sounds?
Who, Jelly? Or
No,
my
your
wife? No, my
we're
wife
not
is
going
married
there.
to me. She
No.
never
On that
sounds like
note-
this.
No, yeah. On that note, no, we're not going there.
We're done. Good night,
Guys,
everybody.
thank you. There's so much more to talk about, but we got to put an end to this somewhere. So I think we'll put a plug in it here. Frankly, I'll probably split this up into 3 shows because we've gone long enough for it, and we still have a long ways to go. But let's go around the room, let folks know where they can find you, and maybe we'll consider continuing this next week once CES is completely over. So, trying to keep the same order, but probably failing. Mr. David Ginsburg.
Yes, find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. Actually, Kelly's going to be on the show this week. It's going to be fun.
Oh, that's
And that's why I was saying I had to remind you. And you'll also find me on Wednesday nights with Mr. Guy Searle at the Mac to the Future Live webcast. We have fun there as well with Warren, and occasionally on the Mac Show, and on Twitter, DaveG65. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thanks for being here, David.
Thanks.
The man who is petting his cat, Mr. Guy
Hey,
Searle.
Let's see. Vertshark.com is the website. Vertshark and MacParrot is the Twitter handles. Guy at mymac.com is the email address. Vertshark is the stuff to look for on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. mymac.com is the other podcast, and Guy's Daily Drive, where I don't do it every day, but I drive and I do a live cast. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Sounds good. Thanks for being here, Guy.
And cats.
And cats.
Cats.
Mr. Jeff Gamet. Jeff, thank you for being here. What's going on?
Well, again, thanks for having me back. I'm amazed every single time you have me back. It's like, seriously, wow. But I'm easy to find. Jay Gamet, Twitter and Instagram. Google me. I'm on like everyone's show, and I get around. And this is just so much fun.
It always is. It always is. Mr. Andrew Orr, I think I know where I can find you when the lights are on.
That's the only place we want to find him.
If the video is any indication, the only place you can find him is MySpace, right?
So you can find me on Twitter at Andrew or Not. I'm a writer for the Mac Observer, macobserver.com. I write a whole lot about all the CES stuff and security and privacy and Apple stuff. And I also do a security podcast with Kelly every Friday. So yeah, that's a thing.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
I was so excited. I got the Jedi hand wave in there, and then you said exactly what I wanted you to say. So that's a thing. Whatevs.
Oh, Mark Fuccio, the guy that this week brought the fruit.
Oh yes, but you and
Jeff, no comment. Jeff, no comment.
Okay, yes, you inspired it. Your Take Control authors are very good and very interesting. So best way to reach me is Twitter at Mark Fuccio, MarkFuccio, all together one word. And again, I want to thank you, Chuck, and I want to thank everybody else here, because these are really fascinating discussions. And I think they're even better when it's in sort of quote slow news periods where there isn't a lot of Apple announcements to discuss, but other things going on in the tech and other related industries. So thank you for the invite, and back to you.
Thank you, sir. Good to have you as always. Mr. Frank Petrie, who got his camera and his microphone fixed to join us.
Yes, I used a rather large hammer. You can find me down in the courtyard lying on a park bench under a layer of newspapers usually. But if I'm not there, I want to thank you. You, for some reason, keep inviting me back. You haven't learned your lesson yet. But I have a blog, ympnow.com. I write for Screencast Online Magazine, a review every month. You can follow me on Twitter at fpetrie and on Instagram at Frankie, PHRANKY.
You're always welcome, Frank. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Last but absolutely not least. Now, I left her for last because I wanted her to catch her breath. And this week, we're going to give her 10 seconds.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Da, da, da,
All right.
da, da,
Kelly, you ready?
da, da.
Hold on. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
You can find me on Twitter as Verso. You can find me as the host of the Daily Observations podcast over at macobserver.com and occasionally on The Incomparable, where I usually talk about Star Wars.
Damn.
Wow.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Wow.
10
Really
seconds.
serious.
Perfect.
Last week she hit it right on the number.
Nicely done, Kelly.
Well,
Nicely
well
done.
done.
Yes.
Kelly,
Make-
I was certain it was going to be 11. But seriously, you hit 10.
I also am going to put a footnote to this because we had a mention of left-handed earlier. So my Twitter name is Verso, Verso. And what it means is a publishing term. When you open a book, the left-hand page is verso and the right-hand page is recto. It's like a Latin root for the left-hand side and the right-hand side. And I'm left-handed, so that's why I picked it. So that's why that's my name on everything.
There's at least
Very
3
nice.
lefties here too.
Oh, finally figured it out. Thank you for explaining that.
Hey, out of curiosity, how many left-handers here?
Me?
Me?
Whoa. That's pretty good. That's
Wow.
pretty
Yeah.
good. All right.
How many right-handers? Is it even? Yeah.
Well,
I'm
I'm
a left
right-handed,
footer.
but Jelly here is left-handed.
Frank?
Okay.
Frank abstains.
I have a left foot.
Oh, okay.
Hey guys, thank you. This has been a whole lot of fun. There's so many more things I wanted to talk about, and we just never got to them. But this was still great. So thanks to everyone.
And thank
folks,
you, Chuck. Just like
Hey.
every week, it's like that when
You love it.
when the budget's tight and you stand at the ATM and you wonder if this is the week it's not going to spit the money out. That's what it feels like in
Yeah.
the waiting room sometimes, and you always let me in.
Oh, and folks out there, thank you for joining us. Whether you listen live on Facebook, whether you listen live on YouTube, or whether you're catching this in the feeds because the times don't suit you, we completely understand. We'd love to have you join us. So Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Facebook or YouTube, or again in the feeds. Until then, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Thanks for watching. Guys, that was great. That
was
was
a lot of
great.
fun.
And
That's so much fun.
I can't believe how many notes I had that we never even got anywhere close to.
Oh, I had
Oh, I
a lot
can.
of stuff too. So
Yeah. But that's the nature of CES.
Yeah, sorry about leading us down the rabbit hole.
No, that's all right. Listen, some of the rabbit holes
That's
are really
awesome.
interesting. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
certainly can be. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And next week we get to talk about Tim Cook's thing he talks about tomorrow morning.
Oh,
Do-
yeah.
Do we have any
Oh, man.
any
What the
inklings?
fuck is that all about? You know, I mean,
a lot of
AirTags.
speculation. No, it's not a product.
No, it's a
They're gonna
non-product
put-
announcement from Apple tomorrow. That's all we know is it's not a product.
I
I
think all
wonder-
the Apple
well-
stores are going to be vaccine centers.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
So you can get an eye shot.
that would be good.
You get a
Well,
shot and
is it
some
going to be?
AirPods.
Is it going to be the single or the double shot?
Jeff.
What's the
Well, I
double-
guess we won't know.
Guy, what's the
Definitely be a double shot.
I'm
hold it. What is the double shot?
No, I was
Currently,
just
most of the
joking.
vaccines available it's a series of 2 shots. You
Yeah.
get one
Right,
shot,
like-
and then about 2 weeks later you get the second. I'm going next
Right.
Friday for my second.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I
wow.
haven't got my first
You-
yet.
Yeah.
double shot.
Someone somewhere determined I was essential personnel.
Oh, I thought
Oh
they
my
just
God.
determined you were old.
Oh,
Well, hey, 6 and 1,
Oh.
Double
half
the-
dozen of
Kelly,
another.
he doubled his
Whoa.
odds. He got it. You know,
I thought the country was
I
in
don't
trouble
think anyone
before.
else here did. So
Oh,
God,
it's serious.
Um,
It's a serious issue.
Mm.
What do you think, Jelly?
Well, so I was talking about this with some other people, and we determined that until the vaccine gets more prevalent, that you know how there's like degrees of Kevin Bacon. We decided
Yeah.
it's your Fauci number. So like because I know Guy and Guy got the shot, now my Fauci number is 1, and then when I get my own vaccine, then my number will be 0. Right now, all of us have a Fauci number of
Ah.
1.
I have a Fauci number of 2 by 2 different ways.
So you know someone who knows someone?
I know 2 people who have who know Fauci.
Oh no! This is just for the vaccine. We just decided instead of calling it Kevin Bacon,
Okay.
it's just the Fauci number. So
Okay.
yeah, so now all of us have a Fauci number of 1 because we know Guy and Guy got the vaccine.
Hey, folks, I want to.
Ah.
So Kelly,
I'm
are you
only at half
Yeah,
right
go
now
ahead.
because I haven't had the
somebody
second
who's
shot.
vaccine is please define, as you're using the term, please define what is the Fauci number. Somebody who received a vaccine is Fauci 0.
Yes, degrees of separation from a person who got a shot.
Okay. Not
So-
to Dr. Anthony Fauci, the
No, not to him himself. We just decided we would call it the Fauci number in his honor. So, like, until today, because I didn't know Guy got shots, my Fauci number was 2 because I have a friend whose spouse got vaccinated. So now my Fauci number has gone from 2, friend of a friend, to 1 because I know Guy and Guy got a shot. And Guy's
Okay,
Fauci
so-
number is 0.
Okay, so
No, it's actually 0.5
so
because I
knowing
haven't
your
had the
Fauci
second
number.
shot.
I
yet.
know 1, 2, 3, 4 people who've gotten the vaccine.
Okay, then your
And-
Fauci number is 1.
Right. And separately, in terms of the Kevin Bacon, measurement, I know two.
I don't
people-
know Kevin Bacon.
I know 2 people who know Fauci. So
I'm sure I know someone who knows Kevin Bacon. I don't know who it is, but
Yes,
I'm sure I know
Chuck.
someone who
But
does.
do they know
Chuck-
Kevin
Chuck's
Fauci?
trying to get through. Chuck's
Yeah, hey,
trying to get through.
Guys, I want to let you know, we had a nice comment from Brian in the chat room and also from
Oh.
Craig Albaugh, who was here with us, I guess last week or week before last. So I think they're still there. So
That's
thank
him.
you guys for
Yeah,
being
thank
here
you.
and
Awesome.
Yes.
join us
Bring
next
some
time.
pizza next week.
Hawaiian, please.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
That'd be nice. A little pepperoni right about this time would go good.
There you go.
Ah,
Yeah.
ham and pineapple and onion.
Guy, what
Mm.
time zone are you on? Are you on Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah, I'm on Eastern time. I live outside of DC.
Oh, okay. So you're like Chuck. So you guys are 3 hours ahead.
Philistine.
It's
Ham and
9:50,
pineapple.
9:53 out there. So yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking
yeah.
I
of
was
which,
actually downtown last Tuesday. And
On
I'm glad
purpose?
that
Oh,
that's where I had to go to get the shot.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm not convinced that was a fair trade.
Are we still
Yeah,
streaming? I'm gonna shut
Yes,
up if
we
we're
are.
still streaming.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
But
We're still streaming.
I'll shut the stream off. Good night, streams. Good night,
Bye,
Facebook and
streams.
YouTube. Thanks a lot.
So
Nice.
guys,
Bye.
Pfizer or